3.
Okay, welcome back to class. We're going to start chapter 2 of your Criminology Decor book. Today we're going to talk about the primary sources of crime data. But the chapter itself is referred to as the nature and extent of crime. Now, primary sources of crime data. We have official records, the Uniform Crime Report, otherwise known as the UCR. I will explain to you as we go down further. We're going to talk about the Part 1 crimes of the UCR, the Part 2 crimes of the UCR, how we compile the UCR figure, and the validity of the UCR. In other words, how good it is. What makes it important? Then the second one, or the second way we get our sources of crime, is the National Incident-Based Reporting System, otherwise known as NIBRS. It has to do with the future of the Uniform Crime Report. We see it as an improvement over the Uniform Crime Report. It specifically deals with about 46 specific offenses, 11 lesser offenses, 22 crime patterns, incident, victim, and offender information, and 33 states all over the United States are certified to participate, including other state programs in various testing stages. Survey research. We all know what survey is all about. This is when we ask people about their attitudes, beliefs, value, characteristics, and experiences with crime and victimization. We take a sampling from the population. In other words, when you're talking about population in the survey research, we are talking about the number of participants in the group. The National Crime Victimization Survey is another way we collect our crime data. It is otherwise known as NCVS. It addresses an annual survey of crimes, addresses the non-reporting issue. We do the survey twice a month for 3 years. Contains information regarding victims, offenders, and the crimes committed. Then the next one is called self-reporting survey. Under the self-reporting survey, the survey is given in groups and is done anonymously. We tend to ask people to describe recent and lifetime participation in criminal activity. The validity of self-reports, it is based on honesty of self-reporting participants. Monitoring the future, how consistent it is, and how longitudinal the study is. Let's evaluate the crime data from all these crime sources. What are the strengths of the UCR? The UCR collects offenders' data, particular crimes that surveys cannot measure. The National Crime Victimization Survey, the NCVS, it deals with unreported crimes, information on personal characteristics of crime. At the same time, you could also look at this as the differences between all these sources of crime data. Now let's go to self-reporting survey. The self-reporting survey has to do with personal characteristics of offenders. What are the weaknesses of some of these sources of crime data. Under the Uniform Crime Report, it does not include unreported crime, subject to reporting caprices of police department. The NCVS estimate from limited samples of population, personal recollection, does not include homicide, drug abuse crimes. In other words, when you're talking about personal recollection, how many people is going to say they committed crime? So, and even when the victim is trying to talk about it, they might not be able to remember everything. Self-report surveys, it rely on honesty of offenders. Most people, when they commit crime nowadays, they will not tell you they commit crime because they don't want to go to jail. What are the contemporary trends we are looking at during this criminal era? Crime rates are declining from their peak in 1991. Violent crimes and thefts have declined. And we also see a trend in victimization. Decrease in victimization has happened across all age groups. Specifically, significant decrease in serious violent crimes against youth ages 12 to 17. Predicting future crime trends. With increase in number of elementary school age children right now may lead to future increase in crime as children reach teenage and young adult age. Rising number of senior citizens could lead to lower crime rates. Age structure, as immigration could affect crime, economic jobs, abortion, gun availability, gang membership, drug use, the media, medical technology, aggressive law enforcement, incarceration, cultural change, and the internet. All these explain trends in crime rate currently. Let's look at co-offending and crime. Co-offending tends to be in a form of group activities, and is more prevalent in neighborhoods that are less disadvantaged, more stable, and contain more people who can be trusted. Crime pattern deals, we also deal with what? Gender and crime. Under gender and crime, we have trait differences, masculinity hypothesis, socialization differences, cognitive differences, social/political differences, and liberal feminist theory. Race and crime. We see crime as institutional bias such as racial profiling, racial trait hypothesis, and structural racism. Ecology of crime deals with the day, the season, and the climate. When we talk about day, season, and climate, what we are getting is, what I'm trying to say is, most crime occur during summer months because it's hot out there. When the temperature is cold, such as is in the winter time, that has effect on whether somebody will commit crime or not. It may have an impact on violent crime rates, such as cold weather season. Regional differences, large urban areas have higher rates of violence. The use of firearms, according to the NCVS, firearms are typically involved in 20% of robberies nationally, 10% of assault, more than 5% of rapes, about 70% of murders, and there's still an ongoing debate about gun control, as we know nowadays. Social class and crime. We deal with instrumental crimes, expressive crimes. We also have unemployment and crime, even though there's a weak association linking the two together. Young people earning money are more likely to engage in antisocial behavior such as drinking and drugs. Age and crime. Research has shown that age is inversely related to crime. Aging out of crime, age and biology. Gap between adult and teen official crime rates is starting to even out. From our perspective as a student, why are teenagers more likely to commit crime? What is the aging out effect? I mean, most students or teenagers commit crime because of lack of supervision at their house. Some of these students live in a single parent's home, and as soon as the single parent, whether the mother or the father, goes to job, especially the one working overnight, then these kids, these teenagers, see it as an opportunity to be out there with their friends doing wrong in the middle of the night, even during the day. Chronic offender / criminal career. Chronic offenders are persistent offenders who keeps committing crime and make crime a career, thereby leading to career criminals. It's caused by delinquency in bad cohort. This is a research done by Wolfgang, Figlio, and Celine. And then they did a classic longitudinal study that tracked a cohort of boys over an 18-year period. In other words, they tracked a group of boys over an 18-year period learning about chronic offenders and what makes them commit the crime as they are growing up, and when do they age out. What causes chronicity in crime? Number one is early onset. In other words, how early that individual is introduced to life of crime. Implications of the chronic offender concept. What are the implications of the crime being committed nowadays? We have laws all over the United States now, such as the mandatory sentences. Most states have the new law that's been around for a while, which is technically not new anymore. It's called the 3 strikes policies. And then we also have the truth in sentencing policy. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of chapter 2 of the PowerPoint. Next lesson, we'll start chapter 3.